In this video we'll just show you how we can machine the cavity in this shape here. So I'm in the 3D CAM module and I've imported the step file. So it's this face in here that we want to machine. So with the mouse in the graphics area, we right click and say pick faces, highlight the face, right click and say make a sketch from your face. So we've now got a sketch of that shape there. But what we need to do now is we need to extend a couple of these edges so that the tool goes past the edge for pocket machining. So to do that, in the objects tree here, we highlight the sketch and click the plus button, and then we can see the individual lines and arcs that go to make up that shape. So I think the ones we're interested in are these three here just to start with. So if we start off with this one here, then in the properties window at the bottom we can see the start and end point of that line. So if we have XY0 here, then obviously the least X value is the start and the most is the end. So if we look at the end here, it's at 46. So if we just make that say 55, just so that it's big enough to get the cutter past it. Okay, so that just extends that line. Now we do the same with this one here, and it's that same 46 dimension. We make it into 55, and that extends that line. Now we do the one in the middle here, and it's the X value again. We make that the same there, 55, and that one there, 55. Okay, so that's just made that line there move and the associated lines that go with it. Now if we just move the model around, use Control and the mouse wheel to shift, use the mouse wheel on its own and depress it just to rotate. Scrolling the mouse wheel in and out gives you a zoom. So now we need to do this line over here, which is probably around the end here. Now one thing that we don't want to do is we don't want to have to start messing around with altering end points of this arc here. So what we'll do is we'll move this line and then we'll just add in another segment there. So if we get to that line there, then that's at X0 because our triad here is at the X position. So if we make that say minus 12, that moves that point, and then the other end here, make that minus 12, and that moves that line. Then this line here, we want its start point to be minus 12 as well. Okay, so that's done that, but we're now missing a segment in here. So what we need to do is just to draw a line into there. So if we collapse that sketch down, then we can go into the geometry module and draw a line. Then when we're drawing a line, we need to make sure that all our snap modes are switched on. So we can do that by making sure that the end point and the intersection snapping is set, and also because we set our selection filter to faces only, we need to make sure that that also includes lines and edges. So in the options window here, we go to selection filter and just tick as many of those as we think we need. The only ones we really need here are vertices, edges and lines. Okay, so now we go to in the geometry line here, and then we can snap on here and snap on there, then press escape to finish drawing that. So now what we've got is we've got two sketches, the original one and then the one that we've just created. So if we highlight both of those using the Control key, right click and say combine sketches. So we've now got a single sketch, and then in the properties window down here we can set either counterclockwise or clockwise. If the order is labelled as bad, you'll be able to click here and it will say reorder it, and that will get things in the right position. So we've got that sketch there, which is okay. Let's define the tool. Go into milling, define the tool that we want. Let's say it's going to be an end mill, say about 6mm will do for that. Cutting edge angle is 90, and the height is say 20. Okay. Oopsie. Let's make that tool 0, 90. Okay, so we've got a tool there which is about the right size. So we can right click on sketch, and so we want a pocketing operation, set our step over at 3mm, a material allowance. This will be an amount of material left on so that we can do a finishing pass if we need to. We can either start at the centre or at the boundary. We're going to use a 10mm end mill. We don't need to use surfacing because that's only if we want the tool to be draped over a 3D surface. Clearance plane somewhere above the job where it's safe to wrap it in X and Y. The feed change plane above the job, in this case the top of the job is Z0 already, where it changes from rapid to feed rate. And then the final depth is the depth you want to cut, and if you want it to take it in various steps, then you can set that to a value there, but set it to 0 for the time being. Okay, so that is just machined that pocket out. If we know the depth of that, then we can just put it in, but if we don't know the depth, we can go into the geometry module and measure it using the dimensions. So if we do that and then have a step down of say 2mm, okay, so that's machined that down to the depth and machined a certain number of passes. Okay, so that's how you do that.